How will the U.S. deal with a shortage of 80,000 truckers? This is a BBC article from the outside looking in. Let's see, they're training a new generation of lorry drivers. I actually had to stop and think about what that was. That's just another word for truck drivers to help fill the gaps in a nationwide driver shortage, a situation that is adding to the country's supply chain problems. This shortage of drivers is not new, but an increase in freight demand as the U.S. economy reopened after lockdowns, waves of baby boomer retirements, and the pandemic have made it worse. The American Trucking Association's estimates that the U.S. is short 80,000 truckers, an all-time high for the industry. And if nothing changes, the shortfall could reach 160,000 over the next decade. The lack of drivers has made it hard to get products from ports to shop shelves, and is driving up prices for a wide variety of products ahead of the winter holidays. So, yeah, there's the shortage of drivers. I mean, look, I grew up in the trucking industry. I still have family and businesses in the trucking industry. Trucking is definitely not easy. It's not necessarily a quote unquote great or traditional lifestyle for drivers, and having those cross country drivers is getting increasingly hard to find because most drivers want to be home at the end of the night. And that creates a problem when you're trying to find people to be able to do so. So, I mean, to me, I think I see the answer as, for the long haul drivers. We got to get better at this whole autonomous driving thing. I think that we are absolutely going to be in need of it, and this article goes to show, like, hey, if this doesn't change, we're going to continue to have shortages. It's not going to be great. Now, the one thing that trucking does provide is a great income for people who might not necessarily want to go and do other things, be on their feet all day working for an Amazon, or doing if they're not willing to say take an education path or something that's in a quote unquote traditional sense, a desk job or something like that. It offers an opportunity for a great income, but it does come with some downsides. And some of the downsides is sitting all day is not really healthy for you either, right? So we need to think about how we're going to correct that problem. And I think one of the unfortunately, the easiest, best way, and easy is very much understated here, is a self-driving truck that enables people to, look. And if you talk to people in the trucking industry, one of the other big problems that will come up and they'll bring up is all the regulations that they have been torqued onto the trucking industry over the last 10, 20 years. Log books are now digitized. You can only drive so many hours, and it really cuts into how much money per load that people can make. I don't want to say that regulations all the problems, because that kind of is finger pointing, but it definitely is not helping the situation of trying to find people to invest their lives into a career in trucking. So definitely, hopefully, and I'm not saying that we should cut back on the regulations necessarily, but maybe it's time to, relook at those regulations and see what we can do to better them, and maybe save the trucker career industry, instead of just basically putting it out to pasture once self-driving trucks become a thing. Or there's actually another technology out there where with 5G technology, the latency on the between a truck and, say, somebody sitting behind a desk in a cubicle somewhere driving said truck from that cubicle is actually something that could be a reality. So that maybe you have autonomous driving for the highway, and then once it gets off the highway, you actually have a driver that's just sitting behind a desk computer in a terminal, and doing it that way. I know that they've been testing it over the last year or two, and I think in I want to say Florida, but it might have been Arizona. So there are tests like that going on, and I think that that's a potential opportunity. But you got to have really good 5G connection everywhere, and obviously fail safes in place, just in case that driver is not able to connect for some reason, because technology is not perfect tech. I had a Comcast outage here today, and apparently it was a nationwide outage starting back to yesterday, like last night on the West Coast. So anything is possible to break. Anything that can will break, and I think we are on our way to pushing that future in the trucking industry faster and faster.